Welcome to Entrepreneurs Are Leaders podcast with Harry Sardinas. Interviews with world's most influential entrepreneurs that share tips about how to grow your business exponentially. Charismatic speaking, leadership, branding, marketing strategies designed to help you monetize your knowledge, find true happiness, and manifest your goals and dreams.
Hello everyone and welcome to our Entrepreneurs and Leaders podcast. And today we have a bestseller co-author of Global Conscious Entrepreneur with us, a book that I'm part of it, a group of Global Conscious Entrepreneurs. So thank you so much. Welcome, Tara. Could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, Harry. It's so great to be here with you. So I'm over here in Canada. We were just saying that. You're over there in London. So I'm in BC, Canada here. Although I'm blessed to work with businesses and entrepreneurs all around the world in mindset consulting. So I've been personally trained by the late, great Bob Proctor, who passed away a couple years ago, really continuing his legacy. And another blessing is I've stepped into Bob's shoes in our company. So I've been teaching, planning a retreat in Cabo for all the consultants right now.
Wow.
It's been just an incredible journey. And I remember, Harry, because I had come from, training with Tony Robbins, traveling around the world for 3 years with Tony and Robin Sharma. And my background's all in energy and vibrational medicine. I was a senior yoga and meditation teacher of 18 years. And I remember when I came into this material with Bob, that was my goal. My goal is that one day I was going to be leading in Bob's company. And remember, that was a really big goal. And I wasn't in a great space at that time, but it was like a barometer. It was like a measurable, and it was evidence that I was doing the work. And so I just feel so blessed and so honored that I am doing that, but that, it's possible. It's really, truly possible for anybody to reach their goals and their dreams. It just really first starts with an idea. It starts with a dream. It starts with a desire, because I know you were like, well, what's 5 things you can share with others? And I'll just put that out there right now. That just started as a desire. It started as a dream. Like, what would that feel like to be one of Bob's best and leading in our company and working alongside Bob? Now, Bob has passed on. He's on the spiritual plane. And by the way, he's teaching on the other side already, if you're open to
wow.
that. Yeah, but I
good
feel
way to
Bob.
look at it. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So I really feel Bob. I feel Bob in this legacy, and I feel Bob, they're really supporting. And I think that, oftentimes when we do pass on, we can support a lot of the things going on the planet more from the other side. So I just feel just so deeply honored and grateful that I found Bob, and that I'm working, in his company. And, I get to work and meet so many amazing other leaders around the world, just like you and like Marie Diamond and all these other phenomenal leaders.
Tell us a little bit more about the work you do. What can you help the entrepreneurs with?
Yeah, so, I support and really guide individuals in moving towards the results that they want. And, I think that, when you look at the majority of people, they're not getting the results they want. I mean, even after the last 3 years, there's a lot of talk about COVID fat. I mean, people are not feeling good in their bodies. I think too, just regardless, we always want to be in growth mindset, because there's always the opportunity to get better and to do better. I mean, the very fact that we woke up today is a miracle. And I don't know if you knew this, but statistically, there's at least 150,000 people that did not wake up today. So the very fact that we wake up is another day of serving.
100%.
We want to be in growth mindset, because we're either growing and moving forward, or we're going backwards and we're slowly dying. So this is what I support individuals and businesses in doing, is getting really clear on what they want to create. I teach them around their mind and how the mind works. Now, my original training was to move into psychology. So I'm so glad that when Bob put this material out there, and he spent 60 years studying the mind, studying what he did, that really transformed his results. And having a deep understanding of the mind, especially your conscious and subconscious, is so essential in moving towards betterment and getting those results. So I teach around the mind. I teach around harmonizing and working with universal laws. We have these laws of the mind, these laws of thinking. And in order to get better results in your business and in your life, you have to harmonize your mind, your goals, with what it is that you desire. And it truly is an inside job. So I teach individuals, instead of like living from the outside in, which is how we've all been programmed, is to start living from the inside out. The outside's just a reflection of what's going on inside. So the opportunity now is, yes, you're aware of your results, but you got to go inside. You got to go inside and do the essential internal work. And this is what's so tough. It's really tough because when your current results are not what you want, it could be that crappy relationship you keep attracting, or the financial burdens, or it could be, again, the health and fitness things. So it's super challenging when you do not understand how your mind works or how to harmonize with law, when your results keep giving you the evidence of what is going on inside. And I always say we're all genetically and environmentally programmed. We call that a paradigm. So I teach around the paradigm, and you can have a paradigm shift, and everybody can do it. I always say, Harry, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. It truly is a game changer when you take 100% responsibility, start doing that internal work, especially working with a guide or working with a mentor. I mean, expect miracles. Really, truly just expect miracles.
And people don't realize, but the 80% of the success of the entrepreneurs is in the mind, right? And if I tell you stories, well, I'm sure that you have seen 100, but if I tell you stories, you won't believe, like entrepreneurs that they make a lot of money and they lose it and they make it again and they lose it again. And I think that they haven't done the work within themselves, and there is something there from the past, an incident that is leading to this behavior. Maybe it could be stored in the unconscious mind, right? They don't even know that it's there, by showing up all the time, and it's reflecting in the life in a way, like you said. You can attract toxic relationship, or you can attract the wrong business partner, or you can be successful financially, and all of the sudden something is gone, and you don't even know what was happening. So how can we raise awareness to entrepreneurs that they, exactly like you said, that they do have to work within themselves first, right? Because that will project the success of the business we have. Because I think that, like I said, 80% is on the mind, and if the mind and the person is not have 100% alignment and doesn't have the self development work within themselves, it's gonna be very tough for them to get the results, right?
Yeah, and I can definitely relate to that. It's super frustrating, right? When you have all this education, or you've reached these levels of success, and then you just go back to this pattern, and like you said, you go up and then you go down, whether that is a huge loss, whether it's just not feeling successful. Again, it could even show up in your body, whatever that is. And that is it's because of the paradigm. Like, Dr. Bruce Lipton, he would say, give me a child up to the age of 7 and I'll show you the man or the woman. Our current results is a reflection of the way that we've been programmed, and we're all a product of a product. And of course, the environment that you grew up in actually had the biggest impact on your ability to reach certain levels of success, or why you continue to reach certain levels of failure. But I want to remind you, first of all, that failure is not bad. Failure is a privilege. So for those of you that have experienced a lot of failure, I always say I have 2 black belts. I have one in failure and I have one in success.
Exactly.
But where did you learn? Like, you learn the most, you grow the most during those tough times. But that's what's so frustrating. It's like, okay, why do I reach a certain level of success and then I either peter out or I crash? And that's because within all of us, yes, there's that programming. So all you have to do is like take a look at, well, what was the environment you grew up in? How successful were your parents? What were their thoughts around success, around business, around money? And I think many of us grew up in households where there was a lot of negative thought energy, negative beliefs, negative attitudes, like there's never enough money. Money's the root of all evil. I grew up in a household where there was a belief that you had a lot of money, you were a very selfish person. So I would reach huge levels of success, right? It's because we were very poor. So it was, it was just that people who have money are taking away from you, and that's why you're poor. And we know that that's not true. So I would reach certain levels of success financially or in my business. And then there was this pattern, this paradigm where I would self-sabotage.
Right?
Yeah.
Self-sabotage, yeah?
Self-sabotage. And so,
and you don't know where is it coming from.
Yeah, it's coming from the subconscious.
You don't know where is it coming from. It's deep, it's deep inside, right?
Yeah, it comes from the subconscious part of yourself. That's where the paradigm is. I always say your results are an honest reflection of your subconscious mind. That's why you've got to start working with your mind, as Wallace Wattles from The Science of Getting Rich, which made the documentary The Secret a huge hit. But he said you'd have to do things in a certain way. What is that certain way? You have to harmonize your mind with law. Now, we don't teach this in school, and it should be taught in school. So, it's a game changer once you start to understand these principles and practices. And one thing, like even when you're looking at the law of prosperity, it was Catherine Ponder, who is quite famous for speaking and teaching around the law of prosperity. She actually said that success is 98% your mindset, 2% strategy. And then, Harry, look at the world right now. There is so much focus on strategy coaching. Strategy is important, but it comes afterwards, and it actually becomes a natural part of the process.
100%.
You got to get the inside right.
If you haven't done the work inside, you will be an amplifier of this a limiting belief that they are already within you, that you don't even know that they are there, and it's nobody's fault, right? It's not our parents' fault, it's not our household. Every way that we grew, right? We have a different patterns, right? In my case, for example, it was different. My mom always give me money, my dad also, right? So I said, I need money. Okay, my dad opened the wallet, all the money he has, he gave it to me. And my mom also. So I said, I never had respect for money, right? I'm not taking it seriously. It was always available, and life is not like that. So I had to work on myself as well, because that it was reflecting in the business, and sometimes you take very poor decision because you're not taking money seriously, and then you make a loss. Yeah, I remember I have opened a restaurant in Brick Lane, and I lost over 200,000 pounds, and I realized the first time, and it put me in very bad place actually. I almost lost the other business. I lost my girlfriend by then. I lost everything. And then I'm like, whoa, so what happened here? I have to work on myself. There is something here that is not like supposed to be, and it's a real potential harm here. So what's happening? And it was that all my life, every time that I needed money, I have it from my parents. So I was not taking it seriously, right? So again, and the entrepreneur, right? We are responsible for not only for bring the product and to add a benefit to our clients, but we are responsible for the employees, for the people around us, right? And if we don't
And,
do
and
that
something
work
to
on
highlight
ourselves,
here, Harry, if you're open to this, like
go for
for
it.
the entrepreneurs that are listening, is like money is just energy. It's not good or bad, right?
Exactly.
And it's like any relationship. We have a relationship. That's what you're talking about. We either have a good relationship to money or we have a bad. And you can relate this to your relationship with your partner, right? If you treat your money bad, if you treat your relationship badly, and you don't have positive thought energy and positive beliefs, and you're not respecting it, like you said, and you're not, treasuring it and being grateful and taking care of it and celebrating it.
As a nurturing.
Well, just like any relationship, money's not going to want to hang out with you. It's going to you're going to get the evidence of the deeper belief, right? Which, by the way, I just say shorten belief system for BS. You're always getting the evidence of the deeper stuff. And this is where, as entrepreneurs, as individuals, business leaders, especially, we got to go in and do that work because we're always going to get the evidence of what the paradigm believes. So, it's just, that's why it's so important to honestly look at your results. Don't judge yourself. I mean, look at all the learning and the growing, like even your story, Harry, which is so powerful, so much growing and learning, but opportunities to go in deep and take a look at, what are those genetic environmental programs that you were raised with money, and what are the deeper belief systems around it, and then to use the law of polarity, to use the law of opposites, to use the law of belief, the law of the mind and thinking, to go, well, right, I this is what I do desire. I desire to be rich, which is your birthright. I desire to have beautiful things and a thriving business. Well, you got to harmonize, just like your regular relationships. If you love on your partner and, you say beautiful words of love to them and you take care of them and maybe buy them flowers or take them out and do things, they're going to want to hang out with you. It's the same thing with money. Money's just energy. Everything operates on, you can think of frequency. Everything operates on a frequency. So, just to highlight that, because we oftentimes, we don't understand that money is just energy. And we get the reflection of the deeper stuff that's going on in our relationships to things like money, or like our health, or, partnerships, or running a business. We're always getting the evidence of what's going on inside. So be grateful for your results, because they're an opportunity to, if you're not happy with your results, you can do something about it.
Mhm.
That's the great news. You can shift those paradigms.
Yeah. And then, Tara, in your opinion, right, what would be the 5 steps that the entrepreneurs out there should be taking in consideration in order to work on themselves, to prepare, to have a strong mind? And what are the 5 things that, in your opinion, your expert opinion, they have to do in order to so they start to work on themselves and they create this mindset for success? What are the
Yes, well, I love what you just highlighted, Harry. I think, and this is one thing, I think, first of all, to recognize that you are perfect and you are whole and you are complete. We forget. And I think that mentorship, having some sort of coaching, mentorship, I mean, I am personally so grateful to my mentors, because your first mentors are your parents. And like you said, our parents did the best they could with what they had. So I wasn't even going to highlight that initially, but you highlighted it. And I think that is absolutely essential. Find somebody who you admire, who's maybe getting the results that you want, someone who is, integral, ethical, they're doing the work, and start working with them. I would say, okay, so I wanted to highlight that. I would say, have really great goals. What do you desire? Get that on a piece of paper. I teach my clients to carry a goal card. I teach them to carry it everywhere they go. The second step is, make sure that your goal is really clear, that it's crystal clear, that, if you were to read your goal to somebody else, they could actually see that you're doing it and you've reached that goal, because the way universal laws work is they love clarity. Most people are focused on what they don't want. They're using their higher mental faculties. So for instance, imagination. To write out that goal, you got to use your imagination, because your life isn't the way maybe that you want it right now, or the evidence is not what you want. So you use your imagination. But most people use their imagination against themselves. They're focused on the debt. Well, that's a bad goal. Never focus on debt, because universal law says, oh, you want more debt. Here you go. You've got enough evidence of that. So you got to get crystal clear, because the universal laws love clarity, right? The third thing that I would suggest is we think in picture. So once you have your goal and you've got clarity around what that looks like, what that would feel like, maybe it's an award you've written, maybe it's an international, best-selling book like we wrote together, whatever that looks like, you've got to get the images, because we do think in picture, right? You got to see those pictures. That's why vision boards are so profound, and this is where, our good friend and teacher, Marie Diamond, she teaches vision boards. I mean, you could go to her website, check out vision boards. I've been doing a vision board since I was working in physical therapy in my early 20s, which is amazing. Before I was even introduced to this, I was just drawn to creating vision boards. And we think in picture. So if I was to get you to just close your eyes for a moment, and I was to just even say the word Mona Lisa, the way that we think, we naturally bring up a picture of the Mona Lisa. Or if I was to say, Harry, take me to the front door of your home. Like, we think in picture. The inside, right? It shows up on the outside in the out picturing. So we have to form those clear pictures of success, of prosperity. If it's your health, you got to see yourself as healthy. And that's, again, where the mind kind of trips you up. And because it's like, yeah, but I'm, not healthy, or I'm not making that amount of money or that success. So it really starts inside. The fourth thing, which is kind of coming from the third around the image, is you've got to make sure that your self-image is aligned with the goal. We always say that, your big goals, your big dreams, it's actually a self-image goal. So who do you need to be in order to reach that goal? Mm-hmm. How does that person walk, talk? What kind of habits does that person have? What kind of relationship to money, do they have? So you've got to start thinking of this. And again, this is where the power of an image. Okay. And then my fifth step would be take action. Because without action, there's no attraction. This is where the law of attraction gets united, right? It's by taking action. You do not need to be perfect. What I find, working with students all around the world, is that it's the start that stops most people, because they feel they've got to have all their ducks in a line, or they've got to have this education first, or they've got to have this much money. It's perfectionism. It's the people pleaser. It's feeling like they don't have enough education. Just start taking action. Baby steps add up. And oftentimes, most of the action you're going to take is not the right action initially, and that's okay. Neville Goddard, who is the king of manifestation, he talked a lot about this, the bridge of incident. The bridge of incident is when you take action, you actually attract people and situations in your life. So oftentimes, the opportunities to reach your goal are actually going to be delivered through other avenues, because you are consistently on a daily basis taking action. So that would be my fifth step. And just put the people pleaser and the perfectionist. Most people are on information overload. And I say this because, I was one of those people in the past who had an incredible amount of education and knowing. And it was the knowing that was getting in the way and that was stopping me from taking action. So we're on information overload on this on the planet right now.
So
And I would
if you
just
know too much could be your biggest enemy, right? Because it doesn't help you to move forward, right?
exactly. And just, as I reflect on this step, some of the most successful leaders on this planet had less than a grade 9 education. Now, education's important, but
Yeah.
what was the difference is they took action. And think about this too. Like, think about even Edison. I mean, thank goodness for Edison. We got the incandescent light bulb, the motion picture screen. He was kicked out of school when he was like 5 or 6. Like, which is crazy because he was a genius, and everybody has genius locked up inside of them. Yes, we want to get educated. I would say specialized education, but it's not the knowing, it is the doing. That's where you've got to close the gap between what you know and what you do. Take action. Take action. Just start taking some sort of action.
But also, like you shared with us, be aware, understand yourself, and work within yourself. Especially if you're an entrepreneur. We regardless that entrepreneurs face a lot of challenges. Some of them, most of them actually, they become entrepreneur by accident. They thought that they have an idea, they have a product, all of a sudden they're making money, profit, and they're in business, right? But the journey of the entrepreneur is lonely because most of the entrepreneurs, right? They don't have role models in the house, and maybe the group of friends, they are no entrepreneurs, so they need to go into a journey where they will need to find a new group of friends, a new group of people we hang around, and learn the skills, and it's become a very lonely journey. And if on top of that you have those marks from the past in your unconscious mind that we all have, because when I think that when we're kids, it's what actually defines us, right? Something happened when we're in our early age, and that gets stored, and somehow every time that something happen, it get triggered, right? And it will reflect everywhere on your life. So and I agree 100% with what you just shared about the mindset. That is your colleague said 98%. Wow.
Yeah, that's Catherine Ponder. So she
Yeah,
was like
well, yeah,
way back,
very powerful.
lecturing on the laws of
It's all in the
prosperity.
mind, and exactly is what you create. If you thinking a lot about that, you already bring it to the space. Right? You're creating it, right? You're already talking and thinking and thinking and thinking. So guess what? Yeah. So I have a friend that is always complaining. No, my business is not doing well. And maybe my business is not doing well. The business never is doing well. So guess what? It's not doing well.
No, and he's getting the evidence, right? That
Yeah.
he's getting the evidence of
So
what's
the
going
more
on.
if you put it that on the space, eventually even the opportunity comes to you. You're creating it, that right. So
Exactly.
it's when you are in a positive mindset, and you think that even if you spending, we all have difficult times. You think that we are gonna be fine, everything's gonna be fine, and you're gonna find a way. Guess what? You will find a way, because you have the mind is already in that direction. So when the opportunity comes, you can actually see it, because you have the mind. Your mind is already waiting for it, right? And this it's a lot of work. And I think that the other thing that you talk about, which is very important, is about the mentors, right? So all the athletes that we know, right? Every time that they win a gold medal, the first thing that they say is thank you to my coach, right? Because trial and error is hard and it's expensive. Depends what type of business or what role you're doing in life. And if you have, like, Bob Proctor, like if you have mentors that actually um, have doing a lot of research, a lot of study, and they have done the trial and error for you, it would be a good idea to learn from them, right? At least is more effective. And but also the reflection, like you said, right? Because that's what I applaud you, and I admire you, because okay, you went financially successful, then you lost everything, and you realize something. You realize that you had to work on yourself, that something was missing. So tell us a little bit more about this process. When you realize that, I mean, we are all not perfect, but oh, there is something wrong with me, because some people never realize that, and they never work on themselves. So it takes a lot of courage to say, okay, something is not working. I have to drop it, and I have to work on myself, because I'm not perfect. Something is not right with me. I have to align. It's a very difficult decision. So what inspired you to make this huge change and to start to work on yourself and to find mentors for your life?
Yeah, even as you're sharing, Harry, I could hear Bob saying there's only one problem on the planet, and that is ignorance. I mean, we're all ignorant in in some way, right? And we want to be growing, and we want to be learning. And, for me personally, I've always reflected on that. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. It has been a pretty phenomenal journey for me. I think that those most difficult times are challenges, which, by the way, you will always experience. This is how we grow. Think about think about your muscles. If you work on your muscles, they're sore the next day, because that's how the myosin and actin, it grows, right? So, this is a difference. When you start to lead and you understand your mind, and that was a big shift for me. And thank goodness I had that time with Tony, because Tony Robbins puts fire under your ass and he gets you moving. And I knew, because I was up, I went down, down. And I knew there was something I was missing, but I didn't know what it was. And when Bob called me, I knew there was no coincidence, because I was on a plane ride from Fiji with one of my first clients. There was only 100 of us with Tony Robbins, and there was Warren Buffett and Deepak Chopra. It was pretty amazing.
Wow.
But I knew. So she's one of my first clients. She's a movie director, and I did a session on her, and she said, "You got to talk to Bob Proctor." And I was like, "Bob from The Secret?" Because I'd seen that many years ago. And there was no coincidence. When I got home, I went back into what I call a hell realm. It was like, up. What is missing? Like, I just knew, and I wasn't feeling good. And then no coincidence, like, pay attention. That's what I would say to everybody here. Even if you're hopping on this podcast, there's something inside of you. I'll just call that spirit that's looking to express more of you, that's looking to grow. And those challenges, those obstacles, they're part of the process. So when you start to pay attention and you listen to spirit, we're always being divinely guided and supported. Even you being on this podcast, the way that I see it is that this is probably the answer to some of your questions, or where you're feeling stuck, or where you're feeling challenged. But we've got to be open to that. So when Bob said to me, because he knew I had a lot of training, he said, "It's not working your way. I can show you a way that works every time." I knew that everything I did before that was perfect. It was all perfect. It helped me survive some of the toughest times of my life. And, I think many of you've had some really tough times. And again, if you don't move out of those tough times, which is reverse thinking and into forward thinking and moving towards big goals and dreams, you will just keep recreating the past in the future. And that was something where my paradigm, like a broken record, I would get stuck, because I had a lot of emotional impact. We had a family tragedy when I was 21. I took custody of my 3 siblings, and it was just a really tough time for me. So I would keep going back to the old hurt, to the old trauma. Just like when you're playing a record that's broken, it keeps going back to where the scratch is. So I knew enough that there's no coincidence that Bob Proctor is reaching out to me, and that my client Serena on the plane ride said, "You got to talk to Bob." And even though I resisted the mentorship at first because I had so much training, I was like, but I was praying. I was like, there's got to be something I'm missing. And then, of course, Bob came into my life. And I remember when I got off the phone with him, I just knew. I knew that that was the answer to where I was feeling stuck. And once I started studying with Bob, I knew that I would study this for the rest of my life. Bob spent
Wow.
60 years of his life studying and researching and how he went from, being $6,000 in debt, only earning $4,000 a year at the time as a fireman. And within a year, starting to work with the mind and understand those laws, he went to 144,000, and within 4 years he was a millionaire. So you can imagine, because a fireman was making about $4,000. So I knew that Bob understood the laws of the mind and the laws of success. Find somebody. Even just the fact that you're jumping on this podcast could be the answer to your prayers. But don't look at those challenges, those past traumas, those hurts. They're all for you. Life is happening not to you, but for you and through you. And I know for me, and I'm sure for you, Harry, if you reflect on the toughest times in your life and where you did experience a lot of failure or a lot of loss, that's when you grew the most.
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly. Oh yeah. When the failure comes, like it's and how you behave with failure, right? Because I remember when I opened this restaurant and I lost over 200,000 pounds. I was beating myself up like, oh, I lost the money. You're stupid. This and that. And now looking back into the day, I think looking back, it was the biggest master in business and administration, the biggest MBA that I ever have, running that business for 2 years, because I had to develop a lot of skills that I didn't have in order to survive, and it still was tough, right? And how you embrace failure, and how um, you come back, right? Which is I think build character, right? Because it make you more certain that okay, if you can always come back, right? You come back in a different form, right? In a more entrepreneurs. I think success and failure, something is for sure. When a big failure coming, when the entrepreneur is coming back, is coming back in a different form. Yeah.
well,
In
and
a
that's
transformed
where
form.
when you understand the laws, when things are really bad, when you understand the laws, there's really good coming. So you don't focus on the bad, you focus on the really good coming. And when you look at like entrepreneurs, businesses, many people give up right before they're about to have their big breakthrough.
Mhm.
And that's why it's
It's all
so
in the
important.
mind. It's all in the mind.
It is. And that's why being persistent and having good people around you, being kind to yourself, and, just doing what you can in those moments. And for me, Harry, I'll tell you, it's the power of prayer. Like that's my superpower. Bob would always say, pray and move your feet. I believe we have a divine energy that's always guiding and supporting us. I believe that our creator, whatever you call it, I just say God wants us to win. So, when you understand again certain laws and harmonize, again, really bad, really good coming, really big obstacle, really big opportunity. But it's a big shift in the mindset for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, Tara, if anyone that is listening this podcast, right, they feel that things are not going their way, that they are extremely successful, and then something is happen, and it goes down again, and they feel that they are stuck, and they do need to work on yourself. How they can find you? If they
Okay,
want to learn
so
more about from you.
yeah, so I'm all over media, and my team and I are having lots of fun too now with TikTok, which I never would have ever imagined. I
Well, tell
am
me about it. Yeah, I just started. Yeah.
You'll have to find me. We'll have to support each other. So you can find me on every media channel, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, now
How they can
TikTok.
find you? What they need to
So,
type? Tara. What they
yeah,
need?
I would just type Diamond Mind, like mind, MIND, Consulting or Tara Pilling. My email, you can personally reach out if you're on Harry's podcast, is just my name, Tara so Tara at diamond, like a diamond and a ring, diamond mind, MIND, consulting.ca. And the reason for that is because you have acres of diamonds in your mind. They're just waiting to be discovered.
I love it.
Many people are like a diamond in the rough, and they just need to be shined up. So yeah, please reach out to me.
And on that note, thank you so much, Tara, to share this valuable content with all our audience. And for you guys and girls, follow us in this podcast. See you in our next one to share stories how entrepreneurs are being so brave to overcome adversity and start to build a business that makes a huge difference in the world. See you next time. Bye for now.
Bye, friends.
Follow us for more on charismatic speaking, leadership, exponential business growth, branding, marketing, strategies designed to help you monetize your knowledge, find true happiness, and manifest your goals and dreams.